Hi, this is Brad Smith from BeerSmith.com, and today I'm going to give you an overview of BeerSmith Web Editor for existing BeerSmith users. So I'm not going to go into every detail here. This is meant to be a fairly quick overview for people that are already familiar with BeerSmith Desktop, for example. This is available to all existing users that have a gold or higher level account, and you can access it from the BeerSmith Recipes website right here. What I've done is I've logged into my account, or a test account in this case. And I do recommend that when you log in, you use a little checkbox that says stay logged in so you don't accidentally get logged out in the middle of a recipe edit. So anyways, I'm going to access the recipe editor just by clicking on the recipe editor button here. And you can see probably a familiar thing here that lists not only the recipes that are in my cloud account, but also the folders that are in my cloud account. On the left side, I do have the folder tree. In this case, just I'm working with a test user. It's only got one sub-recipe subfolder, but I can click on the subfolder and bring up that folder. I can go back to the main recipes folder very easily. You're probably familiar also. I can go in here and edit profiles. I can create an equipment profile, for example, mash profiles, carbonation profiles, and so on. I can do the same thing with ingredients. I can bring up my ingredients list. I do want to mention just how these are stored, though. They are stored a little different. Most of the ingredients are preloaded, and that's the equivalent of maybe an add-on in the previous version or desktop version of BeerSmith. You can manage those preloaded ingredients or add-ons just by clicking on the button up here. And you can go in and select which ones you want to display. So, for example, I might want Schreier malts or Simpson's malts displayed, and I push OK, and they automatically get added right there. You can, of course, create custom ingredients and custom profiles just by clicking on the Add Fermentable button. You can also take an existing one, like an amber malt, and create a custom copy of it if you wish. So fairly flexible. And the reason we do this, the reason we have so many preloaded ingredients is simply because most people don't want to have thousands of ingredients times thousands of users on the server, and most people use a lot of the preloaded ingredients as is. I will mention if you use any of these ingredients in a recipe, of course, you can customize them there as well. So anyways, you got your profiles, you got your ingredients, you obviously have the tools available here. These are all the standalone tools. There's a sulfite tool, the mash pH tool. So these are nice tools for doing simple calculations. Of course, the unit converters are here. And I will mention if you're an existing user, you can also control click on anything to open it in a separate tab. So for example, I control click on the specific gravity tool. I can go over here and it'll open a new tab in the web browser with the specific gravity tool in it. So it's flexible. You can do the same thing with recipes. You can control click on a recipe and it'll open it in a separate tab. I will mention here down at the bottom, you've got the unit settings options, which if you're a metric user are very important. You may want to do these right up front, is go in and set your units to metric. Okay, so that gives you a quick overview of some of the tools and some of the other features that are available. I do want to go back to the recipe editor because that's where you spend most of your time in BeerSmith, of course. And from here, you obviously have a single click to open any of the recipes. You can do this from a tablet. You can do it from a mobile device as well. And then there is a drop-down menu that allows you to do specific items for this. So if I want to print this particular recipe, the BeerSmith Dry Irish Stout, I'm clicking on the little menu button here, and then I can click on print brew steps. I can duplicate the recipe. I can copy or move it to another folder. I can save it to a file. And of course, I can delete it permanently if I like. So you have the basic recipe manipulation tools here. You can obviously create new folders here and new recipes here. I'm going to open an existing recipe. Let's go with the Great Lakes Porter here. And this opens up the recipe editor. And the recipe editor should look very familiar if you're familiar with BeerSmith itself. It looks very much like the desktop version. I will mention you can get these same features from the mobile version by logging in from your phone. So if you log in from your phone directly into the BeerSmith Recipes website through any web browser on your phone or your tablet, you can access these same features. Okay, so starting at the top, many of you are probably familiar with the different tab systems, and all the tabs are here. Basically the same as the desktop version, and I do have separate tutorials on each of these tabs that walk you through the details on how to use them. At the very top, we've got the menus. I'm sorry, the operations that you're probably familiar with for scaling a recipe, for example. to a new set of equipment. I can adjust the gravity level up or down. I can play with bitterness levels, again, up or down. These are analogous to the tools you'd see in BeerSmith itself, the main BeerSmith program. I can also print from here. I can print a regular printout. I can print brew steps. And you can use the save as default, which is kind of an advanced feature, but it lets you set up the current recipe as the default for all future recipes. So, for example, you can go in and set up your equipment profile and a few of the other options that you use commonly in a blank recipe. Click on the Save as Default button, and it'll save that as the new default, and that'll become the default for all new recipes. So anytime you add a recipe. Going down into the actual recipe editor, these work very much like the desktop version. If I click on, for example, the equipment profile name, it'll bring up all the different equipment profiles I can choose from. I can get additional ones using the Manage Preloaded button here. I can obviously create a new equipment profile if I want using Create New Equipment button. And I can choose one that I already have. You can edit the one that you already have selected here to change features on it. And I will point out, you'll notice next to all the profiles, there's a Save button here. And this is kind of nice because rather than having to create an entire profile from scratch, you can go in and open one of your existing cloud recipes and just save the equipment. Like if I want to save my BrewEasy profile, I can just click on the Save button here and it'll say, do I want to save that to my equipment profile list? I say yes. And now next time I go to use my equipment profile, I can pull that up. Actually, editing ingredients is fairly simple. You click on any ingredient to edit the amount and the basic details of it. Like on the desktop version, you can also go in and edit the technical details using the Missed Details button here, for example. And I can edit all the details of the particular ingredient, including the notes and everything. If I want to manipulate an ingredient, I can go over here to the menu bar. And I can click, and again, I can duplicate, substitute, or delete an ingredient, or I can save it as a custom ingredient. Again, if you're working with a lot of custom ingredients, you may want to save them permanently to your ingredient list so they can be reused on another recipe. So it's fairly straightforward here. Obviously, if I just single click, I can change the amount. If I want to manipulate it, I can go in here, I can delete it, and so on. I will mention up at the top here, there's save buttons, and there's also critically an undo button. So for example, if I undo here, I just added the thing in that I just deleted a second ago. Up here, these actually save changes that you made, and you can see it shows that I've got unsaved changes at the top. If I click on the Save Changes button, it's going to save the current changes to the recipe. If I click on the Cancel button, obviously it'll go back and not save the changes to the recipe. So you have all the basic add buttons here. You have also the things for adjusting fermentable percentages. I can change the grain bill by percentage here just by changing the percentage numbers here. I can do hop IBU adjustments again for each individual hop adjustment. Each individual hop addition. I can edit that from here, much like on the desktop version. Down near the bottom half, obviously I have the style guide here, and the entire BJCP style guide's available here. And it compares the recipe to the style guide as you're building it, and it'll update these bars down here. Kind of a nice feature, but I can also click on any of these to access the adjust function. So if I want to change the color, I can click there and I'll adjust the color, and I can move it up or down. So very nice. And again, down at the bottom, I've got the mash profile, the carbonation profile, fermentation profile, as well as some data over here I can use to help me build the recipe. So this is the basic recipe builder design tab. I can adjust recipe sharing from here using the sharing button. I can make a recipe shared, unlisted, or private. They're all private by default, obviously. And I can lock a recipe, in which case it doesn't necessarily shut down the whole recipe, but it's going to make me, it's going to ask me if I'm absolutely sure I want to change it if it's locked. So basically everything is here that you would see on the desktop version of the design tab. I will mention the other tabs. The starter tab is here. Obviously, you can do a two-stage starter if you want. The water adjustment tab is here. You can match water profiles against targets if you wish, which is one of the sort of an advanced feature, but it's all built in here. The mash adjustment tools are here, including the mash pH adjustment down at the bottom, so you can do all the same things you could do with the desktop version. You have the Brew Day timer here, where you can time your recipe. Both the mash steep timer and the boil timer are built in. The session tab is also complete. We can enter your session data as you're brewing. You can clear the session data. You can import tilt data and hydrometer data here and show progress of your gravity and temperature as you're fermenting out your beer. And obviously you can put notes and you can play with different volumes here. I have switched gears here for just a moment, and I want to show you some of the features available on the BeerSmith 3.2 update, one feature in particular. If you go to Profiles or Ingredients, any of the profile or ingredient views, I can open up the equipment view, for example, and if I click on the new button here that's in the 3.2 update, which you can download from BeerSmith.com of the desktop version, you see I've got a button here now to exchange items between the desktop version and the cloud or web-based version. And what it'll do is it'll show me the local data items here on the left and the cloud data items here on the right. And for example, if I want to take this Brad's Brew Easy equipment profile and move it into my web-based cloud editor, I can just click on to copy to cloud and it'll bring that item into the cloud. And you can see the ones that don't match up. For example, I've got the Easy Brew installed over here. I don't have it installed over here. They'll show up in a different color. The ones that are in gray are matched. And so I can do that with my equipment profiles. If I've got custom equipment profiles, I could do the same thing with mash profiles. I could do it with ingredients as well. I can click on exchange items for ingredients. It'll show me which items I have over here that may or may not be custom and which ones I have over here that are not matched. So I can easily match up items here if I wish. Now, I will mention it probably doesn't make sense to take things that are already in an add-on for BeerSmith and match them up. You're better off going into the web version and collecting those, selecting those same preloaded add-ons. But if you have a lot of custom ingredients or you have custom profiles, custom equipment, custom mash profiles, and so on, it is worthwhile to be able to go in and exchange them from the desktop to the web-based version. And it makes it a lot easier because you don't have to re-enter that data. So it's a very complete set of tools accessible from the web. The nice thing about this, you can access it from anywhere just by logging into BeerSmithRecipes.com. And there are a set of mobile layouts that correspond exactly to this with all of these tools available. So if you log in from your mobile device, your phone, for instance, all these same tools are available. They'll just be in a much smaller format. So anyways, that's a quick overview of the new BeerSmith web tools, and you can access those from BeerSmithRecipes.com just by logging into your account. I'd like to thank you for listening, and have a good day.